It's been a week since my last week in review. We have a lot to catch up on. So I'm going to get right to it. I'll talk to you about a few things that are on my mind, some things I've noticed and have been in the zeitgeist, and just get your take too. So please interact with me, comment, make sure you're subscribed. We reached 250,000 subscribers recently. Thank you so much for that. So the first thing we're going to talk about, unfortunately, I hate that we're starting here, but Andrew Tate and his broke ass bunk ass, poor ass, just whatever. His brother, they're horrible. I hate that I'm even mentioning them, but they're horrible people. And I saw a few people say, "Who is that?" on my posts, and you can search for them. Be careful. There's some SA trigger warning. There is a lot of that. They are being accused of a lot of things. They have not, innocent until proven guilty. But they pretty much admitted to most of it online just because. And so I just wanted to bring that up because it is something that happened. I will have to say this, and I'm gonna be honest with you because I'm treating this like a old podcast that I used to do. It was gratifying AF to watch them get arrested. And everybody's talking about making fun of their clothes while they're arrested, Andrew's clothes and whatever, kind of a little bit of homophobia mixed into the mix because he is so homophobic and he is so misogynistic and most likely a rapist and etc. Sorry, I guess I wasn't supposed to say that, but I did. Um, but what I noticed more than the outfit he was wearing, because whatever, was the guy, the friend of his, trying to take his necklace off. They thought they were so thuggish. They thought they were so smooth with it. Yeah, he's getting arrested. Let's take off his ice because it's so expensive. We're gonna take that from him. He needs such care like a king, and let's take that from him while he goes and fixes this, takes care of this, and gets it back. And then it took them forever to get. I don't even know if they got that thing off of his neck because it took forever. Watch the full video instead of just seeing little clips of it. That boy works on his necklace for far too long. Shouldn't have done it. Should have just kind of let it be, but instead bring more attention to it. It was just sad, much like this man's life. And unfortunately, I watched a little documentary about him and nothing about him or his brother is good. I do think like most people who are broken like this, it something happened where he wasn't getting enough attention and enough love at some point in his life, and it turned into this. What I say about that is, I truly believe that he could turn around. I don't need him to turn around because he's done so much damage already. But to say, well, he probably had something done to him when he was younger, or this probably traumatized him, that is most likely true in my opinion. But there are millions of people who have been traumatized or had something done to them as children who turned out to be wonderful people. And so I often have a problem with that being the defense. Speaking of defense, keep a close eye on anybody who defends Andrew Tate and his brother right now. If they're defending him, you need to keep an eye on them. You need to keep some distance, in my opinion, and you need to keep an eye on them. That's all I'll say about this topic. We're going to move on to Taco Bell and diarrhea because that's a better topic than the topic I was just talking about. So, last video, which I'll try to link to here, we talked about this explosive diarrhea situation. It has only gotten worse. More people have it. I think we're still in the territory of no one has passed away from it, but I could be wrong about that. Let me know in the comments if you know something different. The our wonderful government put out a post that said, "Hey, it's Taylor Farms, it's Taco Bell lettuce. We found the culprit, we found the source." And then a couple of hours later, they came back and said, "Oh, we were wrong. It was a false positive. We don't know what we're talking about." That's what happens when you have someone heading up the Food and Drug Administration who is Kennedy. This guy RFK is his name. Ooh, he's something special. He's something special. Watch Monday's episode of Jon Stewart Daily Show from July 20th, 2026. Watch that. That's all you need to know about him. So we're still on the lookout for what the source is. Still be very diligent and careful when it comes to those fruits and vegetables and different things that they're talking about. Look up the latest information. Keep yourself safe. If you have explosive diarrhea, please don't go swimming. Be cool. Be cool, man. Okay, next. The number of long-term unemployment reaches a high at 2 million, mostly white collar, meaning like data analysts and accountants and things of that nature. And some of it is AI. The cause of it is AI, but not all of it. And there's a lot of people who feel like AI is being used as a scapegoat to mask the real problem, which is these companies just wanted to get rid of people. And so they have this really convenient excuse, because you'll notice a lot of the companies are making more money before they do the layoffs. And they're just like, oh, well, let's do that. And then what's interesting is people will do a lot of layoffs, and then a few months later, they'll come back and say, well, who's going to do this part? And who's going to do that? And who's going to train the AI to do X, Y, Z? And they realize they prematurely got rid of the people who are the heart and soul of the businesses. So that's the big corporate thing that's happening. If you think that you're going to run your entire company with just AI, I would think again about that. People are still needed in so many ways for so many reasons. And I think you got to wait a little bit for the loop to come around. You may know this about me. I'm very bullish on AI. Definitely think that even, especially underrepresented people, should be paying close attention to AI, utilizing AI. I often talk about it here on YouTube, but I don't think that it is a miracle. I don't think it's a replacement for just the human miracle that we are. And I think that we need to be smart about this. This is why I want you to study AI, not for you to believe what I believe about it, but for you to have and form an opinion about it that is informed. That is why we should be doing that. So this is a big deal that all of these layoffs are happening. Some of them are AI based, some of them are not, but it is a big deal. And what does that mean for us? I think we need to think about future proofing our lives. And I think that a lot of that has to do with a couple of options. One option is to work for a smaller company and be very flexible and agile and know that you could get laid off. The company itself could go under, different things like that. The other is to think about entrepreneurship and think about what sort of side hustle could I start now to be a branch to the next place if I need to bounce, or if I get bounced. I would love to hear what you have to say about any of these topics in the comments. I'm here to read every single one of them, even if I can't reply to all. The next thing we should talk about is kind of this big deal that's coming up. Stripe has made an offer to buy PayPal. That's big, y'all. We always talk about Stripe or PayPal. I have a few videos ago where I talked about how you can get a loan from Stripe and from PayPal if you have businesses that run through either, that people pay you through either. You could be potentially eligible for a loan. Go check that video out. And all you have to do is just click on my name and it'll take you to all of my videos. But Stripe buying PayPal, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. It feels monopolistic. Is that a word? Feels monopolistic. But it also feels like PayPal is always a little bit, it feels like PayPal is a little bit more old school than Stripe is. Stripe feels like the more modern option. And I have this feeling it's based on just instinct. It's not incredibly scientific, but I have this feeling that we might get better service if PayPal is under Stripe. I don't know if that's true. Would love your opinion. Next, okay, this movie, The Odyssey. Have you seen it? It's 3 hours long. It stars all these people. I remember when I saw the Devil Wears Prada sequel. I remember The Odyssey was a trailer for it, and I was with my wife, and we both looked at each other and said, I'd watch that." I love The Odyssey. I loved reading The Odyssey when I was in high school. And what's interesting about it is I haven't seen the movie yet, and I had tickets to it, but I ended up missing it because I was watching the World Cup finale, and then I missed it and all that. And it's 3 hours and the commute, so it's a 4 hour commitment that will be hard for me to figure out. But what I thought was so interesting is first I want to just know if you've seen it, and second, they say like it was a big headline that the movie The Odyssey, because it stars who it stars, all these heartthrobs and interesting people, the movie is sending younger people back to books, was the headline. And some people didn't know The Odyssey was a book. And when they found out it was a book, I know that's silly for some of us, many of us watching this, but they didn't know it. And when they found out it was a book, they're like, "Oh, I want to go read that book. Like I read Harry Potter. I want to read it." And The Odyssey is just this like opus of a book. It's a huge, huge book, really beautifully written, and it's a poem, if I remember correctly. It's just a full-on poem, and very exciting and thrilling. And I can't wait to see the movie. But I think that's so cool that it's actually making people read more because in this day and age, books are very, very. They don't seem to be trendy, and now they are. All you have to do was get you a Robert Pattinson and a Zendaya. Is she in it? I think Lupita's in it. You have to get you some interesting and cool people in a movie, and then they're going running back to the books. So very cool. Speaking of stuff that we were watching, who is watching Ride or Die? Now, no spoilers because I can't accept your spoilers in the comments. But are you watching Ride or Die? I'm watching it. I already finished it, the first season. I love it. I hope they bring it back. I can't imagine why they wouldn't bring it back a second season, but we're gonna have to wait up probably a year before we can see that if we're lucky. But it was such a good match. Whoever thought of Hannah Waddington, is that her name? And or Waddingham and Olivia, that's not her name, Octavia Spencer. Whoever thought of them as a duo, kudos. You should get an Emmy just for that thought, just for casting. They have casting Emmys now as of last year, so hopefully they will be nominated because it was just wonderful. It was so fun, and there was, how sometimes you'll see stuff like that, and you'll like, oh, there's a plot hole, and there's a plot hole, and this is kind of silly, and oh, I don't believe that. I felt that it was such a fun, just kind of watch it kind of thing, but it still stayed true to itself almost the whole time. Couple things I didn't love, but just most of it was just fantastic. It also had this feeling of that was going to be a movie. Like they could have done a 2 hour movie, but they gave us, what, 8 episodes? Just too cool. I love it. I hope we get several seasons of it. They definitely seem like they're setting it up to do that, and yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I just think that I think it was just great. I think that the acting was great, the writing was compelling. It was fun and lighthearted, but it was also like, meaty enough for it to feel like they were taking us seriously as viewers. And if you have watched this and you like it, and you're just like, I can't wait for a year to see something like this, go watch Killing Eve. Killing Eve. They had 3, 4 seasons of it. Jodie Comer, Sandra Oh. The first 5 minutes of it will hook you. In the pilot, so so good, and kind of has this vibe, a little bit more rooted and grounded than this, a little bit more, I would say, realistic, if you will, but just phenomenal work. And I've worked with Jodie Comer in the past. I'll say that forever, just like my Fast Company cover. I worked with Jodie Comer on her Broadway show, and I'm going to talk about it. So if you want to know more about that, just ask me. If you don't know who Jodie Comer is, watch Killing Eve. She's the main character in it, and then I'll ask me about it. Okay, how are we feeling? How are we feeling? Make sure you give me some feedback in those comments. Make sure you like and subscribe, or like and subscribe below. I don't know why I did that. Like and subscribe below if you want me to continue to do videos like this, maybe once a week on Wednesdays or anytime I get a chance to do it. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm very curious about your opinion because honestly, like at 250K subscribers, we can experiment and we can do some things as long as it's entertaining or it is helpful to know these things. That's what I'm looking for. I just want to be helpful. Next thing we're going to talk about is OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, and Anthropic, which is Claude. Those employees, thousands of them, are getting super mega wealthy. I think it probably makes sense. It doesn't seem surprising, but it's something that's being noticed. They are getting like people are coming in, working there for 2 or 3 years and coming out with like $50 million worth of equity because of how much equity there is and how much value there is in these companies. And we're not done yet. OpenAI is at like a almost $1 trillion valuation. Maybe it's a little less. Maybe that definitely what they want to be at the IPO. I don't even know what Anthropic is at right now. Go to Google and just look it up, or go to one of those places and say, what is the current valuation or perceived valuation or public valuation? Because they're private companies right now. What is it? Because I think they're about $1 trillion that they are at right now. Tell me if I'm wrong. But that's a big deal. And we remember we were talking about a few topics ago. There were two options. There's being an entrepreneur, but there's also working at a company that's a smaller company, that's not this big Fortune 500 company, while being flexible enough to know that it can go away. So what I know is I know a lot of people who they'll work at a startup that has some traction to it, and they'll be like, employee number 37 or employee number 104, employee number 6, and they'll work there for 2 or 3 years, get some equity, and go to the next. And then you look back 10, 15 years later, and they have all of this equity. And some of it's worthless because this company's died out, and some of it is really, really worth something. I definitely think that's one way to look at things. You don't always have to be the CEO, founder of something to build wealth and build equity. Now, next thing I want to say to you is that Keke Palmer deserves a 9-figure podcast deal. Now, I say that and I mean it, meaning we've seen Joe Rogan, we've seen the Smartless guys with their podcast, we've seen Call Her Daddy, 8 and 9 figure. I think they were all of the ones I listed just now are 9 figures, meaning 100 million or more paid to them in exchange for putting their catalog and future episodes on a Spotify or some other player. Could be Netflix that does something like this. They're out there looking for people because Kiki's out there audio and video. I say that because Kiki deserves that. Have you seen her show? Have you seen her guests? I mean, just banger after banger. Jennifer Lewis, Michelle Obama, now Oprah, and Tracy Ellis Ross, and just on and on. And she's just so good. She's so good at what she does, and she's so clever. And I hope that she gets that if she wants that. That's the caveat. What I also feel is that Kiki might be one of the first people who doesn't need that to make 9 figures, doesn't need a Spotify or a YouTube or a Netflix to pop up and give her incredible amounts of money to own something, or an Apple, right? They would be smart to do that. But I think that she's so young and she's already figured this part out. I think she could do a 9 figure situation on her own, owning 80 to 100% of her company. Like she could sell a minority stake for a large amount of money to give her the infrastructure she might need to build out this huge media business, which she's already started doing. Or she already started a media company. Um, so there's something there. There's also one thing I didn't mention that could be in play is when I think about what Issa Rae has done by partnering with Harborview, Harbour View. Look that up. That's led by a Black woman who buys different intellectual property and licensing. So she just bought out all of Shaka Khan's catalog. She's bought out multiple other ones, all kind of music genres, and she has paid, I think, 10 to 30 million, I can't remember exactly how much it was, to Issa Rae's group for some sort of undisclosed amount of her assets. I think that's smart. I don't think Issa sold it all. I think Issa knows I got a lot more left in me here. So I'm gonna continue here. But that's something Keke could do. I hope she's having that conversation. I bet you she is. You think about T-Pain, he just sold his catalog for 100 million. And JoJo, last thing I'll say about this, JoJo has a cool video on Instagram. She may have it elsewhere. JoJo the singer, where she talks about why somebody would want to do that as a singer. Why would you want to give up your catalog? Now, I I don't love the getting rid of the entire catalog situation, but I understand it. So T-Pain, he's getting $100 million. It's in his bank. It's up front. I don't know the ins and outs of the deal, but I don't think he owns it anymore. Does that mean future stuff he has to give to them too? I don't know if I would love that deal. It's a lot of it has to do with the fact that I have been offered a lot of things to kind of not have control over my destiny and like money wise and I for upfront capital it's just not as interesting to me, but I understand it as a business person. I understand why you would do it, especially if you're older and you're like, let me go ahead and get this money for my family, for the rest of my life and whatnot. I just think bottom line is Keke Palmer, and you tell me what you think in the comments here. I think Keke Palmer, if I don't know anything about her business, so I'm just making stuff up here, but I think she should sell a minority stake, 10%, 20% or so, to someone like a Harborview for millions and millions and millions of dollars. And retain creative control, retain voting rights, information right, all the things she needs to maintain for it to be her, so that 20 and 40 and 60 years from now, she's still very happy with the deal and they're very happy with the deal. That would be cool. I could be wrong always, but that's what's top of mind right now. Let me know if you want me to do more videos like this and if this was helpful to you. I'll keep it coming if so.